the MMA fortune teller.
The teller. The teller. The teller. The teller. The teller.
Boom. And just like that, you got the teller right back in your guys' life in the midst of a beautiful fight week. UFC 239. We got the embedded videos posted on YouTube going. Some great fights on the card. Some softballs that are just getting tossed to us, ready to be smashed right out the park, killing it, making some big money. You know, for those of you guys that know what you're doing out there, you know what time it is. You know how it goes, though. Before we even get into UFC 239, we always take a look back at the previous card. This past Saturday, Francis Ngannou versus Junior Dos Santos. Although it wasn't one of my plays, the fight transpired just as I thought it would. Francis Ngannou went out there, made quick work of the aging Junior Dos Santos. You know, Dos Santos says he's been through battles with guys like Cain Velasquez. You know, he's been finished early by guys like Alistair Overeem. I was at that fight, saw it live. I mean, just put on conscience. He's getting up there in age, and he's just not the same fighter that he once was. So props to him for going out there, showing heart, trying to do what he could do. But Ngannou took him out. And as far as I'm concerned about Ngannou, he hasn't proven anything to me still. I don't see him holding gold anytime soon because he's not going to beat guys like Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. I think those guys are going to grind him out. I think it might even be more ugly if he rematches Stipe. Knowing what Stipe knows now, I think he might even train harder on his wrestling and just strictly go in for that from the very, very beginning and not even try to throw hands because he had nothing for Stipe. Couldn't stuff a takedown for anything. So, and I think it'll be even worse against a guy like Cormier. Cormier might be lifting him over his shoulder and slamming him down. It might be one of the freakiest things we see in the octagon. I mean, Cormier just lifting up a giant like that. But, you know, Francis doesn't have a wrestling pedigree, man. This guy came over from Africa not too long ago. You know, he probably never even knew what wrestling was before he even made it, you know, towards the modern world over here, the you know, whatever you want to call it. But so I don't see Ngannou doing anything anytime soon. Keep working on your wrestling. Maybe even go to a better camp. I don't even really like the camp that he's at as far as his wrestling goes. Maybe he needs to go train over at AKA with Cormier, try to step that up. So that's how I felt about that. But let's get to the juicy stuff. I know what you guys want to hear, and this is exactly what you want to hear right here. Another profitable weekend, and that's what it was. And it's funny because if you guys listened to my last week's episode, you know, I did my quick picks. I said it was going to be hard for me to even watch these fights. I tried to throw them out there for you guys because even when I'm half-assing it, I'm still better than any of these other guys out here on YouTube posting their picks, man. You know, once in a while I dabble, I listen to a few of these guys. They don't even know who these fighters are. They're saying that they didn't even watch some of the fights. I mean, I'm over here, I just got married and I'm still putting the work in. And you know what? I snuck off and still watched almost every single fight on this past card. And I made money on it still too, because I was upset, you know, the week prior. You know, I wasn't upset, but, you know, I was getting married, so I had to skip the card. And I missed the chance to make money because one of my biggest plays was Ashley Yoder, and I missed it. So I knew the same thing was going to happen. I'm like, why miss another fight card when I could make money? And that's what I did. So let's start off with my Instagram picks that I gave out to you guys completely for free. I had one L, the Tony Martin 2-unit loss, which was nothing. 2-unit loss, came back with a 6-unit Drew Dober, which basically those two canceled out, which is exactly what I said if you guys read what I wrote under the comments. And then I had the Joseph Benavidez 5.5-unit play. Almost got that at Pick'em odds. You know, a guy betting Benavidez that went out there in the first time they fought and just completely styled on him the way he did. And you're going to give me the rematch with these guys, and you're going to give me odds like that. A guy like the teller is going to jump all over it because I know what I'm doing. So those are my 3 free plays I gave to you. You guys would have profited on the night again. I had 2 other plays that I posted on my third-party tracking system, you know, solid as it gets. I had to hit the Maurice Green at the Pick'em odds. I said it, Maurice Green has more heart. You know, he's been looking good as of lately, so I liked him in that situation. Took the money with that. Then I also had a parlay, Drew Dober, and let's see, let me check the notes real quick. I parlayed Drew Dober and Alonzo Menafield. Took Alonzo Menafield over the Scottish guy, man. The fucking big old Scot. I mean, he came out there, the Bear Jew. He thought he was gonna, you know, he thought he had some for Menafield, and he didn't have shit. You know, when they're calling his name, he walked across the octagon. He was trying to intimidate Menafield. Menafield wasn't having it. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like what Paul Craig's about, man. He's a tough dude, but I knew that was a great chance to just capitalize, make some easy money. Drew Dober was the safest play of the night. I mean, he has great head movement. He wasn't going to give Marco Polo Reyes the chance to take him out. You know what I mean? He was in and out, very sharp with the striking, and he didn't even have to use his grappling, which I felt if he did, it would have been a complete massacre as well. So just easy money, man. This is what it's about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Just making money, man. Card after card after card. So that's what I did once again. Shout out to everybody that DM'd me on Instagram, asked me for the plays and made money with me. Shout out to the couple people that bought my picks off Capertech. You know, I hope that that little bit of money that you sent to me made you fucking a lot of money, because, you know, the plays were there, like I said. So that was that. Now we got UFC 239 to get to. Very excited about breaking down this card. I mean, some exciting matchups, some big-time fights that I'm looking forward to seeing. I just heard Chito's still going to be in the card. Happy about that. Not too sure about his opponent. You know, we'll get into that. But, you know, I was really looking forward to seeing him fight against O'Malley. Hopefully they'll put that together in the future. But before I even get into this UFC 239, if you guys can do me a favor, man, for those of you guys that are loyal, man, watching my videos, please hit the like and the subscribe buttons for trying to get the channel moving. You know, like I stated earlier, man, I'm listening to these other guys who have way more views than me because I got in the game late, and these guys are horrible at their breakdowns. Like I said, they don't even know who these fighters are. They're not even watching the fights. It drives me bananas, man, to even listen to these guys talk. Meanwhile, they're getting all these views. You know, I can't believe the sheep that are listening to these guys. So, you know, we got to get the word out about the Teller's channel, because I'm telling you guys, nobody's breaking down the film like I am. Nobody's putting in the time, and nobody's making the money I'm making. Check the numbers. Check my third-party tracking. Nobody does what I do, man. So, all right, let's move on to UFC 239. A little lackluster with the first fight of the night. We got Julia Avila taking on Pani Kianzad. Like I said, not the most exciting fight to start the night off, but the card really makes up for it as we move along, so don't sweat it. This girl, Julia, man, she's 5-1, has two notable wins that pretty decent wins, man. Marion Renaud and Nico Montagna. So those girls, you know, recognizable names, you know, decent fighters. Julia hasn't had a lot of fights, but she's a tough chick, man. From the film I saw, she brings it. She's going to walk girls down. She could take a shot, and she's going to try to bully you. She's going to try to lean up against you, push you against the cage, and she has hands too. I mean, she'll throw some hands right at your fucking nose. I mean, she's only aiming for the nose. She's not throwing body shots. She's throwing right for the head from what I saw. Tough chick. She seems like the type of girl that's going to go in there, and in her mind, she's going to feel like she could whoop anyone's ass. So you got to like that aspect from her. Her one loss, that chick, her nickname was the Black Widow or whatnot. Her Allen, she was a tough chick, man. She's up there in age as well, but decent record. Never really made it to the UFC or any of the top promotions, but tough chick. And you know, then we'll get to this girl Pani. Pani's 11-4, 27 years old, so you know, she's still a young chick. She's been learning. You know, for those of you guys that watch the Ultimate Fighter show, you know, she's trying to learn. She's completely obsessed with mixed martial arts. You got to appreciate that aspect. You know, she has 4 L's. 3 of them were against real opponents. Macy Chason, who's an absolute beast. Have very high hopes on that girl, man. I plan on making some money on her going forward. Sarah Kaufman, a true veteran of the game. Same thing with Tanya. Tanya's an absolute veteran of the game as well. So, you know, even though she came off she's coming off a tough loss, you know, she's been around forever. She's a tough chick, so no shame in that. The one big question mark, man, is, you know, Pani has this loss against Raquel, who is 6-6. From the very limited footage I could find on Raquel, I mean, that girl's a complete joke. I don't know how she lost that fight, man. So, you know, that's a big question mark for me. And Pani, you know, she gets bullied a little bit, so this could be a bad matchup for her, because I think Julia's going to go in there and expect to bully her around, and I think that's what's going to happen. So I don't know if this is the type of fight you really want to trust your money on too much. I mean, you got 2 very young girls. You know, like I said, the girl, if you're going to bet on Julia, she's only has 6 professional fights, and I think there's other money to be made in this card, so pass on that. But Julia will probably win this fight. All right, moving and grooving. I'm excited about this next fight. For those of you guys that are not that familiar, man, this guy Ismail Nurdiov, however you want to pronounce that, Nurdov, just call him the Austrian Wonder Boy. Very impressive in his debut. Went out there and defeated Michel Prazeres. You know, he was a big underdog in that fight and really stepped up. He's only 22 years old. He's taking on this guy Chance Reencounter. I don't like what I've seen from this guy Chance at all on tape. You know, his record's not the worst, but, you know, he's already up there in age, you know, 32 years old. He's 13-3. Although he did redeem one of his last 2 losses. You know, he redeemed that loss against Justin Patterson. And then his other loss was against Belal Muhammad, who's a solid fighter. Okay, I mean, that all looks good on paper, but I don't even care about that. He doesn't look good on tape. He drops his hands. His hands are bad anyway as far as striking goes, but he drops them, leaves his head on a silver platter, and someone's going to fucking clean that off, man. I don't see any reason why the Austrian Wonder Boy is not going to be the guy to do it. Looked so impressive in his first fight, only 22 years old. Nice frame for the weight class, you know, 6 foot, 170 pound for the 170 pound weight class, but he's just solid, man. He's athletic. You could see that he's well-rounded. He's going to get better fight to fight. And the way that he stepped in there for his first UFC fight, no octagon jitters, any of that stuff, man. He didn't give a damn. Going in there against a complete beast in Prazaris, and he just went in there and just went to work. You know, if you watch some of his earlier fight tape, some of it's not the most impressive, but take into consideration of how old he was during those fights. I mean, he's 22 years old now. You're watching fight tape on him. He might have been 19 years old. You know, I mean, he's so new to the game. This guy has all the potential in the world, and I think he's going to run through Chance in this fight, you know. However he's going to get it done, I mean, maybe he might go to decision, or he might, like I said, man, Chance drops his hands, and he might get that chin clean, man. I'm telling you, it might be a head kick knockout. You know what, I'm gonna call something freaky like that. I'm gonna take the Austrian Wonder Boy to get like a freaky type of knockout, maybe a head kick, something you know, tricky, fancy. So yeah, I'll take the Austrian Wonder Boy to win that fight. Although as far as betting it, I mean, the line's, it's so high at this point. I don't think really, I'm not exactly sure if it's worth it at this point. I mean, we'll keep an eye if it moves or whatnot. So, but yeah, man, Austrian Wonder Boy's to play. All right, up next we got the striker Jack Marshman taking on Edmund Shabazian. You guys know the deal with this guy, Edmund, man. He's another young buck, been looking very promising. He's only 21 years old, 9-0. So you guys know the deal with him. This guy has all the potential in the world. 6'2" with the 185-pound weight class. This guy, everyone's raving about his jiu-jitsu, you know, tearing people up in these jiu-jitsu tournaments. Striking's on par, has very crisp boxing. This guy is, you know, he's the real deal. And Jack Marshman, I'm not the biggest fan of him, man. He's a tough dude. He could take a shot. You know, he'll take a couple shots to give you some shots and stuff, but he's slow. You know, he's kind of one-dimensional. He's more of just a striker. You can exploit his grappling if you really want to. And if Edmund gets this fight to the mat, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think his jiu-jitsu will be on a whole nother level. But I think it doesn't even matter if it touches the mat, because even if it stays striking, I think Edmund's going to show him up. And, you know, I don't know if he'll finish him on the feet. We'll see about that. You know, Jack's a pretty tough dude. But I think either way he gets outclassed. And this is another fight, man. The line has just jumped up through the roof. So if you didn't grab this early, there ain't really much to do with it. I mean, you could have got it, I believe, in like the minus 300s or whatnot, maybe the high minus 200s. Probably not even, actually. I think it started in the minus 300s. Now it's blown up to like the 600s and stuff. I don't know about parlaying this. Maybe. I think we might have some better opportunities for some legs and parlays, though. So just be patient on that. But yeah, man, Edmund to win that fight. All right, up next, man, we got a little bit of a tricky play here, man. Alejandro Perez taking on Yadong Song, fighting out of China. Here's the thing. When I saw the line, I felt I had to put some research into this because, I mean, you got a guy like Yadong Song, very, very young. He's only 21 years old. He's 13-3. He has some questionable losses on his record already. You know, he really hasn't beat anybody, really at all. His most notable win was the Brazilian cowboy dude, and not Charles Oliveira. I'm talking about the other one, man, Felipe Arantes. So nothing special about that. He did get the finish, so okay, you know, other than that, he got a win against Vince Morales in his last fight. You know, just a newcomer to the UFC. Doesn't really say much to me. So, you know, and he's taking on a guy that's a crafty fighter, man, in Perez. Perez is known for going out there and making fights very, very close and winning a lot of those close fights. You know, he wins a lot more than he loses, to, and not just in his mixed martial arts career. I'm talking about his UFC career. So 29 years old, you know, he's been in there and he's done it. So you gotta question, man, as far as the experience goes, maybe as far as the grappling goes as well. Maybe Perez can mix in some takedowns. You know, the Chinese fighter, we really haven't seen him grapple too much. His striking is up to par, man. Very crisp. I like his striking, man. He's quick. But Perez, man, this is a guy that's been, you know, beating guys like Eddie Wineland, Matthew Lopez, Alcantara, Sukumtat. You know, decent fighters, man. Scott Jorgensen does have a questionable loss against Patrick Williams. That was a little weird, but And then he had a close fight against Cody Stamen, who's a tough fighter, man. So, went to decision with him. I think this fight's going to go to decision, and I've been torn on it. As far as a value stance goes, I think the value is definitely on Perez. I mean, you're getting him at underdog odds. If you guys want your money to go a long way, maybe you want to take a shot on Perez. But, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win this fight, I'm going to go with Yadong Song, just based on from what I've seen with the striking. And I think this fight's probably going to end up just taking place in the feet. And Yadong Song, he has very good striking, man. So he has a lot of promise as well. But, I got to see it first, man. I'm sorry. Like, fighting out of China, there hasn't been that many proven Chinese fighters to come in here and really do the thing. I know we got a woman fighter that's doing it, but not that many, male Chinese fighters really doing their thing. So I hope he does do his thing, and it will be something, new to come, to see more of these Chinese fighters coming in, putting in work. So I would love to see a lot more of them. But, yeah, so I'll take Yadong Song to win this fight. At this point, probably not going to touch that fight. Probably not going to take the value on Perez. Like I said, I'm going to take Yadong Song to win that fight. Up next, we got Claudia Gadelha taking on Randa Marcos. This is funny because it's kind of like this fight just transpired, because Randa Marcos reminds me so much of Carla Esparza. Very similar fighters. They fought before, and Marcos, she got her hand raised, but I'm not really sure if she won that fight. She had some home cooking for that fight. It took place over in Canada. I think she lost that fight, but the point I was making is they're very similar fighters, and Claudia, she just took on Esparza and was actually getting pieced up on the feet, surprisingly. But Claudia, she used her grappling to pull that win off. She's very strong. She can get takedowns when she needs to. And, Randa Marcos, she's a tough wrestler in her own right. So you got to kind of question, is Randa going to be able to keep this fight standing if Claudia's, putting underhooks in, trying to get trip takedowns, pushing her against the cage? I think Randa might be able to keep it standing. And Claudia striking, it's weird. It's kind of declined the last couple fights. So it's weird. She used to be a pretty solid striker, going to war with girls like Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But I did not like what I saw in that Esparza fight. I still think that she has enough to get the job done. As I said, same way she pulled it off in the Esparza fight, I think she'll pull it off in this fight too. I think she'll get some takedowns. She'll hold her own on the feet. Hopefully she took this fight a little bit more serious too, because I feel like she's one of those chicks. I feel like she's a stoner chick or something, man. I think she's very laid back, and she's just doing her thing. She's already had her title shot, and she's not so much in the mix at the moment. And I'm just hoping she took this fight serious. So I won't be touching this fight. She's a pretty decent favorite as well. So I wouldn't be so shocked if Randa came out and did her thing. But I'll take Claudia to win this fight. So as I stated earlier, they did find someone for Chito Vera. And I think this guy is going to be in some trouble, man. Chito Vera is going to be taking on the UFC newcomer who's taking this fight on short notice. His name is Nolan Hernandez. He's 9-2, very young. He's green. 2 of his losses, a little bit questionable against the guys he's lost to. And then you look at his 9 wins. He had 2 split decisions. He's gone to decision a lot in his wins. So I don't know, man. I don't know if this guy's going to have what it takes to hang with Chito. Chito has been looking very, very well as of recently. And I think Chito might go in there and get a finish. Wouldn't be surprised. This newcomer, he's been finished once before, and it was by a submission. But I think Chito might give him his first TKO loss. Taking this fight on short notice, let's see if it goes to the late rounds. Chito might pull something off there too, because I guarantee you Chito's in hella shape. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets an early head kick or something nice and crisp, because he'll just style on guys, man. So yeah, Chito Vera, man, do your thing out there, and hopefully I would like to see them match him with O'Malley right up after this fight. Get that fight going again. That was a fight that a lot of people were really looking forward to. So let's make that happen, yeah, man. Chito Vera to get the win. Up next, we have the return of the Mac, Gilbert Melendez. Returning. He hasn't returning from a pretty long layoff, man. This guy hasn't fought since September of 2017. That was a loss against Jeremy Stevens, where Jeremy just absolutely leg kicked the shit out of him. And now he's coming back to fight a young buck, the 25-year-old Arnold Allen. Believe it or not, he's only 25 years old. This guy, he's already had a good amount of UFC fights too, He's 14-1. He's been getting the job done. But now he's going to be fighting a veteran. Does he have what it takes to take out Gilbert, with Gilbert's wrestling pedigree and whatnot? So far, Arnold Allen's, he's beat guys like Mads Burnell, who's an excellent grappler. Macwin Americani, who's a tough dude. Jordan Rinaldi has a little bit of a wrestling pedigree too, but Melendez is a different type of wrestler, and but I'll be honest with you, I don't think Melendez has what it takes. I think after the layoff, 37 years old, he's won 1 fight out of his 6 UFC fights too, and that was against THIAGO Sanchez. So, I mean, you got to look into that. I mean, I don't really know what he's up to. I know he's running a gym out there in the West Coast, over there in San Francisco. You know, his wife fights too. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how serious he's taking the game right now. I mean, taking a 2-year layoff. I mean, he might be really motivated for this fight, though. You know, after, you never know. I mean, taking 2 years off, this might be his last hurrah, and he knows that. So who knows? You know, you got to take that into consideration too. I just think that Arnold Allen will be able to keep the fight in the feet. I think he'll win the better of the striking exchanges. And there's just that question mark with the layoff and the age. You know, maybe Arnold even finishes Gilbert. Who knows? You know, like I said last time, Gilbert was just taking leg kicks from Stevens like no other, man. Leaving his leg out there. Just, I don't know, man. Just his striking didn't look that polished. It's not the old days, man, back in Strikeforce anymore. So I'm going to take Arnold Allen to get the job done. As far as a betting stance on it, I don't really like where the line's at. I mean, if it gets a little bit closer, maybe that's something you want to look into. But like I said, you don't know how serious Gilbert's taking this fight. So in regards to the line, you know, I'll probably take a pass on that as of now. But Arnold Allen to get the job done, like I said. Speaking of Gilbert Melendez's opponent, THIAGO Sanchez, he's fighting on this card as well, man, taking on Michael Chiesa. I like Michael Chiesa, man. Tough dude, good jiu-jitsu. You know, he fights for your money. Right now, he's in his prime, 31 years old, really tall for the weight class, 6'1", has the wrestling, he has decent wrestling too, but the jiu-jitsu, man, really has the jiu-jitsu, that's his thing. Taking on THIAGO Sanchez. THIAGO, man's been around for a long time. He's 37 years old. Guys, got to take this into consideration. Some people are hopping on the little THIAGO hype train because he's never been submitted, first off, and that's kind of what Chiesa does. So he has that going for him. But you know, he's coming off 2 wins. But look who he just beat. I mean, Craig White and Mickey Gall. These guys are amateurs. These guys are really, they're not on the level yet. And you know, they were layups for THIAGO. And THIAGO, you know, he did a nice job with those guys. But look what he did against guys before that, like just decent, reputable guys like Matt Brown and Ally Quinta. You know, got taken out, like just completely taken out, put unconscious. So, you know, I don't know how this is going to go for him. I have a bad feeling for him. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the jiu-jitsu that gets it done. I think that Chiesa has enough for him on the feet to maybe pull off the finish. You know, I was watching some fight footage. I mean, you could see Chiesa, he doesn't have a lot of knockout finishes, but he does. He drops guys. You know, he dropped Jorge Masvidal with a nice combo, put him down, put some ground and pound on him. You know, that strike that he landed on Masvidal that dropped him, if that was on THIAGO would be unconscious. I have no question about that. The state that his chin's in right now, he just has to connect and THIAGO will crumble. So, and you know, every dog has his day too. So, you know, this guy's never been submitted. Maybe THIAGO goes out, maybe he retires with the submission finish, and I mean being finished on him, because he ain't gonna win this fight. I'm telling you right now, he ain't winning this fight. So Michael Chiesa to win this fight. You know, this is another fight though. You know, check the line, see where you can get it at. Make sure you get it at the appropriate line. You know, don't pay too much for it, but because I've seen some books already, and he's a big favorite. So Chiesa will get it done. All right, up next, man, they're getting juicy. All the rest of these fights, man, the next 4 fights, man, big time fights. Up next, we got Luke Rockhold taking on Jan Blachowicz. And this is one I've been back and forth on. When it was first announced, I really saw some value in Jan because Luke's stepping up to light heavyweight for the first time. He's going to be fighting a big, strong opponent in you know, John, whatever you want to call him, John Blachowicz. But, you know, Blachowicz has striking too, man. He has a very, very nice left body kick that he whips the guys' bodies. He has power in his hands, and he'll throw them. Keeps him a little low, but, you know, he likes to tag people up. And Luke, you know, the one thing with Luke, man, you always got to watch out as of recently, or not even so much as of recently, man, from way back, you know, even when Vitor Belfort put him out. Even though that strike would have put anybody out, but still, I mean, that really showed where his chin was, you know, ever since then. Bisping put him out. Yoel Romero just, you know, finished him as well. That was a nasty knockout. You got to kind of wonder where his chin's at, and if, you know, Blachowicz can get in there and connect, you have to know that Luke is going to get slept. If he gets connected on really, really nice, he's going to get slept. You know, one thing that's going for him, okay, he is moving up in weight. Maybe he has a little bit more fluid in the brain. Maybe he could take a shot a little bit better. He's going to be a little bit quicker than Blachowicz. You know, his striking's good, his jiu-jitsu's good, and you know if he gets on top of you on the mat, he's going to finish you. And he's very, very heavy. You know, his ground game, and he gets on top of you, I don't think anyone uses the leverage of their legs and their torso like he does. I mean, you ain't moving. He's going to wrap you up. And he's going to be a little heavier now, too. So I'm going to take Luke Rockhold to win this fight. I'll be honest. Like I said, when it first got announced, I had Blachowicz to win this fight. Something about it, I just felt like he was going to pull it off. I still wouldn't be shocked if he does. And if this is one of those fights, if you want that value play, maybe you take a shot on it, because I'm telling you guys, there's a good possibility. But I'm going to take Luke Rockhold to win the fight. The only way I would throw money on Luke is the line needs to drop. Maybe he'll drop before the fight. I need to get him in like the -150s, maybe something like that, -160s, maybe. So we'll see how that goes. But maybe Luke will be quicker in there, and you know he's a very, very skilled fighter too. Let me not take anything away from Luke Rockhold. So, yeah, Luke Rockhold to pull it off. Up next, we got the people's main event. Ben Funky Askren taking on Jorge Masvidal. You guys, please, you have to comment below. Let me know who you're taking. I heard a lot of people taking Masvidal in this fight. I want to know who's taking Masvidal. Comment below. Or let me know either way. I'm going to tell you guys right now who I'm taking. Those of you guys that know my style, you already know who I'm taking. Ben Funky Askren. You got to have the wrestler on your side. And when we're talking wrestling, when it comes to Ben Funky Askren, you're talking about some of the best wrestling to ever bless any type of cage. Bellator, UFC, any of that shit. And I've been following Ben Funky Askren from back in the day. You know, this guy has big-time wins, man. A lot of wins that people don't even know about, man. This guy, he's beat guys like Douglas Lima, Andrei Koreshkov, you know, Jay Haran, decent fighter, Lyman Good. But really the ones you need to focus in on, Douglas Lima, Andrei Koreshkov. Andrei Koreshkov was a killer when he got that fight. I believe he was undefeated at the time. Nobody ever beat him. And, excuse me. Not only did Askren defeat him, finished him TKO. So, you know, that's really when he started to step it up and really started finishing guys. Right around that fight, Carl Amasu, Andrei Koreshkov just started really just dropping heavy ground and pound on guys. So I'm taking Askren to win this fight. I just think that, you know, as long as he doesn't get slept early, if Masvidal doesn't connect something clean, the longer the fight goes on, they're going to be tired. They're going to start mixing it up, and that's where Askren thrives, man. The second, third round, you wait and see. I'm telling you, you know, his first UFC fight didn't last that long. So for those of you guys that were new to watching Funky fight out there, trust me, man, this guy brings it fucking bell to bell. Round 1 to 3 or 5, whatever round it is, this guy's going to be coming. He's going to, if you stuff one of his takedowns, it doesn't matter. He's going to literally chain wrestle, man. Just takedown to takedown to takedown. You know, picture when you have a solid wrestler that you have your money behind and you're like, go for the takedown, get the takedown, and they shoot one once in a while. You don't have to worry about that with Ben Askren. He's going to come out there as soon as the bell rings, and as soon as they come out, they're not even going to touch gloves. He's going to be jumping at his legs, and he's going to be going for takedown after takedown until he gets one. And then once he gets one, he's going to lay on top of him, and he's going to start to drop elbows. He's going to smash him up. And don't get me wrong, Masvidal's a tough dude, and he might survive through all that shit. Maybe he'll go to a decision. If he's going to shock the world, I mean, his striking's been looking very good. Maybe he pulls off a knockout and tags Askren kind of how Robbie did. But Askren's shown to have a chin too, because he's never taken any punishment. Doesn't even matter about his age. His brain is just fresh. It's fresh, man. I'm telling you. So maybe Masvidal catches him. Maybe that's his way to win. You know, Masvidal is a guy that his boy Colby Covington, I don't know if they're boys anymore, but he's had years of training with him and grappling and wrestling. And you could pull the videos up on YouTube. These guys used to go at it, just grappling in their apartment, you know, going to work. And Colby's no joke when it comes to grappling. So, you know, don't get me wrong. Masvidal has been putting in the work in. He just started too late compared to a guy like Askren. You know, the only guys that are going to be stuffing Askren's takedowns are guys that have been wrestling since they're young kids. I'm telling you. You know, we saw him lose against Jordan Burroughs. I mean, that's a straight wrestling match, but you're talking about maybe the best, you know, United States wrestler of all time in Burroughs, so no shame in that. But Ben Askren's going to come out here and do work. So, you know, if you guys want to parlay him, I mean, let's talk. You know, let's talk. So, yeah, Ben Askren to win the fight. Got the co-main event up next. Amanda Nunes, most likely the best female fighter to have ever done it up to this point, taking on the preacher's daughter, Holly Holm, who's a very good striker in her own right. She's getting up there in age, though. Jeez, man. Whose fight is this to win? Gotta say Nunes, man. This is Nunes' fight. She's just been looking absolutely amazing. Took out Cyborg. Just devastating these other girls that step in there with her, man. Her leg kicks are just looking lethal. Putting work in over at American Top Team. Really, really just found her groove. Her grappling's getting better. She's stuffing takedowns. And, you know, she's not getting tossed around like she used to be against, like, Kat Zingano and shit like that, controlled in the mat. You know, her jiu-jitsu game's on another level, so, you know, that type of stuff ain't going to happen. Don't get me wrong, you know, I still think Valentina Shevchenko, I think she beat her, so it was a split decision victory for her. I think, realistically, actually, I want to take that back what I said earlier. I think Valentina Shevchenko is the best women's fighter in the world, in my opinion, so, and I think time will tell. Hopefully they'll run that back. But you got to have at least Nunes. And so either way, we're talking about greatness when she steps in the cage. But Holly Holm, this is a girl, you know, she's been a big-time underdog before and came through, you know, knocked out Ronda Rousey. Although she should have never been the underdog that she was. People just didn't really understand what they were watching. Even I knew that she had a great chance to win that fight. I mean, just a way better striker. Ronda Rousey was very overrated. She was pulling off the arm bars, but you know, it didn't work against a girl like Holly Holm. Holly Holm trains at, you know, one of the best camps out over there in Albuquerque, New Mexico at Jackson's. So, you know, does she have potential to pull this fight off? I think you have to say yes. You know, she throws the legs up there, you know, very quickly, you know, so she can get a head kick knockout. And she's an excellent striker too, and most likely this fight's going to take place in the feet. That's what Amanda Nunes is all about. She loves her striking. She thinks she's the best striker in the world. And I think that's what she's going to come out here and try to do. So don't get confused as far as that goes. These girls, it's going to be a striking war. And I don't know if Holly Holm is going to be able to take the damage that Nunes is going to give to her in a 5-round fight. Nunes is going to look to get the stoppage. And I'll tell you right now, I'm taking Nunes to win this fight. But I'm super excited to watch the fight. I think Holly Holm, like I said, is an excellent striker in her own right, boxing champion, her excellent kickboxer, has great kicks. So, I mean, this fight's going to be, it could end up being a decently close fight. We'll see. I really hope Holly steps up. And I would love to see Holly get a head kick knockout, to be honest. Depending, because we got to talk. Like I said, you guys, let's talk, because there's another parlay leg sitting here, man, because most likely, you know, Nunes is going to get the job done. So Amanda Nunes to get another win over one of the best women fighters to ever do it. So another great notch to put in her, you know, her resume, put in her record. So Amanda Nunes to get it done. Next, we got the main event of the evening. We got John Bones Jones taking on THIAGO Marreta Santos, the Sludgehammer. I like this guy Santos, man. He goes in there, he throws heat, tries to take people's heads off. You gotta love watching that guy fight. And you got to be interested in this fight, because you have to know if THIAGO lands, he's putting you out. But John Bones Jones, one of the best to have ever done it. He's creeping up on GOAT status. I don't necessarily believe he's the GOAT as of now. You know, fighting at the light heavyweight division. A lot of his wins, man, these big reputable names, man, a lot of them are frauds, really. I mean, honestly, when you really look at it, undersized, I mean, just guys that are not so athletic, man. Tough guys, but like Shogun, some of the wins that he's had, I don't know, Rashad Evans. I mean, come on, man. You're going to compare that against, you know, guys that were fighting in the weight divisions like welterweight and lightweight, like George St. Pierre, Khabib Nurmagomedov, guys like that every time they stepped in there, they're fighting guys that are just, like, athletic. I mean, just very, very skilled fighters. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, man. Bones is a freak. I'm a big fan of his, but he has to show me a little bit more. Let him defeat guys like the newcomers that are coming up, Alexander Rakic, Johnny Walker, you know, those types of guys. That young Mexican guy that's coming up, even ranked a little bit higher than those guys. Those are solid up-and-comers. Let him run through those guys, which I don't think he is. I think one of those guys is going to catch him. I'm telling you. Between one of those three, someone's going to... I think it's going to be Rakic. I think Rakic is going to be the new real deal, so... But John Bones Jones is the man as of right now, and I think this is easily his fight to win. He can control this fight. Just don't get tagged by the big shot. And I think Jones is a cerebral fighter. He's smart. He knows what to do to avoid that shot. Play it safe. Get into the clinch. Use his range. Get in clinch. Get takedowns. The longer this fight goes, the worse it's going to be for THIAGO. I'm telling you that much, because Jones is looking in great shape, and that's what he does too. So, I mean, he's going to get the takedowns. He's probably going to drop some nasty elbows, and he might even get a finish himself. So. And, you know, THIAGO's been knocked out before. You know, Branch knocked his ass out. So, you know, his brain can get wobbled. So, wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But, again, I would not be surprised if THIAGO landed a shot that put Jones out. I don't necessarily want to say I would I wouldn't be surprised. My point is, if THIAGO lands, he will put him out. I just don't see it happening, though. And as far as the minus 600 line, I'm loving that, to be honest with you, because a lot of Jones fights, man, he gets up to fucking thousands, 800s, shit like that. And THIAGO's he's a middleweight fighter coming up to fight at light heavyweight. THIAGO's lost to, to average to below average type of fighter. So John Jones is going to be fully prepared with one of the best camps behind him, and he'll get the job done. And I'll tell you guys already right now, I have parlays that are already on the move, parlays that finished. Some of those ones I posted a video on my Instagram. Dana White's Tuesday Contender Series, that dude, the Hawaiian came through. Already got that parlayed. I had a couple of baseball parlays with John Jones, and I'm looking to actually parlay John Jones some more. I'll be straight up with you guys. I'm going to parlay him some more at minus 600. I might parlay him with Ben Askren, Amanda Nunes. I think there's money that's sitting here on the table just waiting to be grabbed. And I'm not always the parlay type of guy, man, because trust me, you can't win like that long term. But when there's certain fights that are there for the pickings, those you guys that sleep on those, I'm telling you, you guys miss out on big-time money time and time again. So when you got this guy, John Jones, man, like I said, fighting for GOAT status, and he has a nice matchup right here, man. He's going to pull the win off. But John Jones to pull off the main event victory. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up UFC 239. Comment below. Let me know what your guys' picks are. Let me know what your bets are. You guys know how we do it. I'm excited, man. Things are back in full effect. Like I said, I was at the game for a little 2 weeks, man. I was getting married. Had a lot of things going on. I was preoccupied. Feels good to just be back at home, just fully consumed in the fight game, putting in research every night, watching fight tape, and just cashing bets, making money. I love it. I fucking love it. Hope you guys are doing the same. And like I said, man, I mentioned last week, very quickly, there's a lot of big things that come with the teller. I'm going to be featured on some sports betting shows. I'll make sure I give you guys the link, let you know where I'm going to be at. You guys can see the teller live. I got Skype all downloaded. You're going to see me all set up in my office at the bar with the fucking Conor McGregor poster, dual champ behind me. You can expect some big things to come. Slowly, the teller's going to work his way up to Fox Sports 1, get on that Lock It In show, something like that. Maybe ESPN will start a new show for the teller, all about mixed martial arts gambling, because, for those people that don't know about how exciting this shit is, man, obviously you guys know. That's why you're listening to me right now. This is the fucking shit, man. Saturday night, you have your beer in front of you, your whiskey, whatever the fuck you drink, even if it's water. You put your bets in, you know who you got, and you make money. That's the fucking greatest feeling. You don't lose money, you make money. There's a lot of people out there losing money, and I feel bad for them, because you guys know how it is. Of course, everyone takes L's once in a while. It doesn't feel good, man. It's not fun losing money. But if you can make money watching fights, come on, guys. Those of you guys that know that high, it's fucking great. So let's do that this Saturday. All right? Let's fucking win some fucking money and enjoy these fights. Signing out, the teller.